So Google App Engine is going to do for us a lot of things that Cloudflare does, but again, we're just kind of following the path we walked at Summer Web Bootcamp this summer, and we talked about Cloudflare some. And so if you wanted to just not use App Engine, but sort of like take everything you've learned up to this point and then build your binary of your web app and then load that binary up to some virtual machine somewhere and then point DNS towards that and then have Cloudflare help you with a CDN content delivery network, which is basically like, okay, if there's somebody accessing your content from Australia, send them the material from the Australian web servers versus if there's somebody from the Netherlands, send them from the European web servers. And then Cloudflare will also help you with your certificate, right? Because a certificate is only good for the domain. So www.mclouds.com is different from mclouds.com, right? I need a certificate for each of those. And so Cloudflare will help you just like do all that, and there's lower pricing, or free at a basic level. So here is basically your site with a self-signed cert on top, and here's your site with Cloudflare and a self-signed cert, right? So Cloudflare is basically using its certificate or whatever to get you the HTTPS that's signed, and they're serving as a proxy between you and your server and the client, right? Pretty much like that picture. So that's free if you want to use Cloudflare. And so this is just a little graphic also from their website that pretty much explains, hey, without Cloudflare, slow pipes; with fast pipes, crawlers and bots can still get to you, no problem, right? And attackers, they get blocked. We help you block them. And so this is Cloudflare's globally distributed network, or their CDN content delivery network, right? Kind of cool. So what's that? Free, you get fast site performance, broad security protection. You get SSL. They said by 2016 there'll be TLS and TTYL and BTW and BFD. Sorry, didn't mean to cuss. Powerful stats about your visitor, peace of mind, or whatever. And then you could pay and you could get additional stuff, whatever. That's Cloudflare. So TLS, create a certificate and use it with TLS and an HTTP server. And so that I didn't give you the solution for that because it's pretty much what we did in class. You could do it. And then here's the next one, which I showed you at the beginning class, is Photoblog. And so our goal for this project is to create a basic photo blog. It should have a few pages. The initial page should list the most recent uploaded photos. Clicking a photo should download it. Hint, HTML5 download attribute or the content disposition header. There should be an admin page, which allows the user to log in. You can hard code the username and password. Once logged in, the admin user should be presented with a form to upload an image. The uploaded image should then be accessible on the main page. The admin section should require TLS. A self-signed certificate's okay. It's okay to require TLS for the regular section of the site as well. So in Caleb is this like rock star, Jimi Hendrix was to music as Caleb is to programming in Go, right? Where he's been doing it so long, so often, he's so smart, he's so good at it. It just seems like second nature that you could go, and do this crazy thing up and down the fret. Like, isn't that simple? And like when he presented this example, I don't know about everybody else at Summer Web Bootcamp, but I was like, oh man, I don't know if I could do that. And then we worked on it, and then the next day we came back, and I'm like, I'm struggling, Caleb. And he's like, I don't understand. We've gone over all of this. I've given you everything. We talked about each one of these things. You have all the things. It's like, oh, you think that if you explain something once, I know how to use it. Right, that's the disconnect, right? But anyhow, I was pretty intimidated by this assignment when I first saw it. So anyhow, I just prefaced that with that little story. So I think that's pretty impressive, though. And then after Caleb, after we'd actually built our things, and we took basically most of a day. This was basically day 9. At the end of day 8, he presented that. Like day 8, dude. Right, like 8 days ago, most people in the room, no exposure to Go, right? And the end of day 8, it's like do a photo blog with TLS and log in, log out, and all that, and it's like whoa. And but then like day 9, when he came back and he started talking about it, he said this, and I really liked that. But this is not a small deal that you're able to make this after we'd made ours, right? Very few people in the world are able to build a web app like this. It requires a lot of specialized knowledge. I was like, okay, cool, right? Like that actually, it's like makes me feel like I'm less of a tool, a dull tool, right? Like it's true. There are very few people in the world who'd be able to do that. This right here, right? To build this thing. It's very specialized knowledge.
Well, you just admitted that he's been doing it for forever.
Forever.
Right?
Well, yeah.
So,
Which means like since 2012 or something, right? In tech years.
Lots of practice.
Because there's like dog years, which is multiply a human year by 7, and then there's tech years, which is like multiply a human year like by 24 or something. I don't know. Right? So if you started that 3 years ago, you're actually like a senior citizen. Like I've been doing that 72 years. Wow, you started in 2012? All right, so I have a couple of different versions up here. That first version, obviously wasn't working. But let's see if we could get the second version I showed you first wasn't working. Let's see if we could get the first version, which I'm going to show you second. How's that for convoluted? And I just need to go up and then go over to OWASP and then go run main, I think. There we go. And where am I supposed to go on that? Listen and serve TLS, right? So I need to go to 8080, HTTPS 8080. All right, so what happens if I go to HTTP, localhost 8080? Download. Huh, what did I download? Open? Nothing. That's kind of interesting. What happens if it's HTTPS? Sweet. Ah! There's my photo uploads. So let's, maybe I forgot to change the code and I uploaded to the wrong folder. I'm going to just get rid of these images and bring them to my desktop. Wow. Desktop, desktop. Get rid of those, don't those. Doesn't like that. I wonder if I could do it this way. Like that. We'll start out with one image. Okay. And Control C and then rerun it. And come back here and refresh. And well, there should be one picture.
You got rid of all.
No, I left one, didn't I? Oh, I got rid of all of them. I hit delete or something. Tired brain. No pictures. All right, upload. Okay, cool. I was able to upload. Why was that? Let's go in and I probably had a cookie. And so resources, cookies, and localhost, and clear all. And let's try just coming back here and then refresh. And no cookies, right? No cookie. And then upload. Oh, you gotta log in. So whatever. And secret. I think that's right. Cool. And now I have a cookie and I'm logged in. And then I could make this a little bit better up here. But now I could upload and I could choose a file. And it doesn't run my desktop. And I'll go with the first one. And then submit. Ooh, cool. I could upload another one. Choose a file. Go with the second one. And submit. Oh, cool. Right? Like, awesome. This is like basically, what's that one? Photo? No, what's the one with the camera? Instagram. Dude, we just created Instagram. We're like not far away from driving really fancy Italian sports cars. And then I can log out, right? So my cookie should have been gone. Or maybe it just got set to log out, but I try to log in, now I can't. Or upload again, I have to log in again. So, pretty sweet. I was very excited about that. And there's actually one guy who created this. You should go watch the video. It's like when Bob presented, I was like, whoa. Like
so, yeah.
Bob's was beautiful. And I tried to grab the code last night, but he didn't push it to GitHub. Like Bob had all the nice CSS and everything. It just looked great. I was like, oh, that's so cool.
Yeah,
so what?
One didn't have good CSS.
What's happening there? There's my folder structure. So I have some templates, some HTML files, and then where I'm going to put my images, and this is all in assets. And so the first thing you should think is if I'm serving from assets, I'm going to have a file server at some point, some way to serve files, and it has to serve from this folder. So I'm going to need that. And then down here I have my main.go. And this is a huge file, so if this was like real world, probably break this up into separate files, but I just kept it all on main.go. And then first thing to look at would just be the HTML pages, right? And so here, this one is the index, so the main page, and it basically log in, upload, log out. And then we have some templating here. We've already seen templating, right? And we're going to range over pictures, so that's probably going to be like a slice of paths that are just strings, and we'll put that in here for the image source, and now we'll like put out all the images for right there, or we'll say there's no pictures. And then we have login, the login page, which is a form, accepts username and password. We saw that. And then we have the upload file, which is a form which has ink type, multi-part form data. Cool, the pieces are coming together, right? Like we've looked at each of these pieces. And I even down here referenced where this exact code came from. And right here, this is where that exact code came from. I just went back to those previous things we learned and grabbed that code and said, okay, I'm going to need a login form. I'm going to need a file upload form, right? And then the first thing is to look at the top of main where I have some variables declared. These are declared at the package scope, right? So I have var error of type error, okay? I have a pointer to a template type from package template. And I have Gorilla sessions here, right? Creating a new session store, a new store, whatever the heck that means. How would you describe a store different than a session? Store is where we store the stuff, and a session, it'll hold many sessions.
Yeah, ish. It's kind of confusing in that it's not actually holding like in memory or anything the sessions. It's just the stuff required to go to parse through the cookies and get the data from it. So the only thing it's actually storing is the secret, secret salt.
Yeah, I should get a little bit more sleep.
So yeah, the cookie store's misleading name.
And so then I have a struct, right? Data structure, just a collection of fields, and I'm calling my model, and often you'll hear about MVC, model view controller, where model is your data, right, in web programming. So here's model struct, and I'm holding, in pictures a slice of strings, and then var data model get picture pass. Okay, so type model data, and I have some function called get picture pass, which is probably going to look in that folder and read the folder and get all the files that are in there and turn them into pass, and then store that right into a slice of strings. Cool. Let's see get pictures path and how does that work. So it returns a model. So this is data is of type model, right? And model is this, and this returns a model. So data, is getting back, that struct. And so here we create files as a slice of strings, and or we could have done it this way, and then we do file path walk, and this is pretty cool. I like file path walk, and so for this current directory, I want to if we look at file path walk, right, it takes this function right here, and that function goes from there down to here, right, and if the file info is a directory, return nil, no error, right? So we're just going to return out of that, so we're going to skip directories. For Windows, we want to replace the backslash with the forward slash, so we do that right here with the path, and so here's path, okay? And strings replace path, and this is escaping the backslash, so we're just getting the backslash, because the backslash is an escape character, right? And so we got to escape that to just have it, and then here's the forward slash and replace all of them. I think that's what the -1 means. Is that correct?
I think so.
And I only want JPEG files. So if strings, and strings is, where's strings? Strings has suffix. That's a package, sorry. Path, right? Here's the path. If the path that I'm looking at has the suffix of JPEG, then I want to append that to my slice of strings. So I append that to my slice of strings, and I return no error, right? So I return no error, and then I return the model with pictures equal to that slice of strings, and the pictures, right, is equal to a slice of strings. So now this has data is a value of type model, and it has inside a field pictures, which is a slice of strings with all of the paths. Cool.
Question about hash templates. You can only put one type at a time using that.
Which one?
If strings have suffix.
Yeah.
You added a JPEG.
Oh, right, yeah, like,
you could only have one suffix
If
type.
you wanted more, you have to do different. Okay.
yeah. I thought about that too. Like, what if it's JPEG or PNG, right? So, so then we get down to func main, and so we saw how we could use parse glob to parse all of the templates in a folder. So I'm saying, hey, I'm going to parse all my templates at once, and I get my TPL, so I'll be able to use that. And I have TPL up here, so that's now accessible across multiple functions. It's package level, right? And so that's why it's just equal. And so whether I'm in func main or I'm going to have other funcs down below, I'll be able to access all of my templates and execute them. And then I have a bunch of handle funcs for these different routes: login, upload, logout, and then I'm going to run these functions, these handler funcs, right, for the different endpoints. And then I have HTTP handle, and so anything that comes in at the assets folder, it's going to serve from assets. So that might be I should have made that assets images, because it's also going to serve my templates. If somebody just asked for that raw template, it'd serve that file, since I just said assets. And this still kind of throws me, like, what, strip it and add it? I don't know. I have to even go back and look at my own explanation. Like, I had my head around that at one moment, but then
Yeah.
that's like a pretty dense line right there.
Yeah. It's the leftmost assets is the URL. The rightmost one in HP dir is the file system,
Yeah,
not the
thank you.
URL. And then the strip prefix is basically how to convert.
Yeah, that helps some. And then here, favicon is a file that often gets requested by a browser, and so so if that gets requested, I'm just saying not found handler. I got this line from you. You want to say something about that, Summer Boot Camp? This basically says, if somebody asks for that, right, like a browser asks for that, we just say we don't have that. That's basically what that says.
It's just returning a 404 error.
Okay.
So the reason we put that in is because the just the basic / handler handles everything by default, but we don't want it to. We don't want the favicon to get back
Execute
to the HTML.
index, right?
Yeah. So just overwrite that with no 404. We don't know.
And then we have listen and serve TLS, 8080, insert PIM and key PIM, and we have those right there, cert and key, right? So the rest of this stuff, right, like there's index, temple execute. That's it. That's all I have for index, right? Anybody could come to index, and all I'm going to do is serve them back the index page. And then I have Gorilla sessions running. That's one of my imports. And then for my login, right, this is stuff we already saw. So we get a session, and if the method is post, then we should have gotten back a password. And is it equal to secret? If that's true, logged in is equal to true. So I'm using a bool here instead of 0 and 1 this time. Otherwise, invalid credentials, right? And there's something I need to do here. You were saying, because I was getting those multiple things, you were saying I need to add some
You got that here.
returns.
You have to add return after redirect.
Okay, I got to add a return right here. So there needs to be a return right there. But then we save it, and then we redirect. I should have a return right here between 64 and 65. And then if it isn't a post, then we just execute the login template. So I know we're out of time, but
So the return is needed because the redirect fills out the response writer with the redirect, so the web browser will redirect, but it's not actually ending your code. So you have to make sure to return out of your function so you don't keep going on. Because you want to send back the redirect, you don't also want to send your HTML from the template, which is how that code would have done.
So last thing, just preview what's coming. We're going to look at getting photo information from a third-party package, and can I see the GPS coordinates of photos that people submit and then start mapping them? And so that package will do that. It's very short right here, like 3 slides. And then we're starting with, okay, we did all this with just Go. Can we now take that photo blog and stick it onto App Engine? And so that's what we're going to do right here. And App Engine will serve it, and we could serve it from a domain. And and then we're going to start using App Engine and start using all the services and data storage and everything that affords to us. So we're at the end of day 9, Summer Web Bootcamp. So almost 2 weeks out of 4 weeks, almost halfway. All right, so see you guys. Anybody have any questions or comments? How many people got good stuff today? All right, cool. How many people are excited? Like, oh, awesome. Like, so nice having a code pathway, right? Like, all right, good. We got code samples, clear descriptions about how this stuff works.